Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're back on the P-47. We just finished up the Freewing SR-71. You can check that video out, just posted it. So when we left off, I was just about done with the left wing, and I just finished up the landing gear door install, just touched up all this paint. Looks pretty good. I ended up changing the hinge from the offset hinge that came with the kit to a standard hinge and left a small gap there. That's kind of dual purpose. So I was really trying to figure out how to actuate this door. And the mounts that they give you on the strut won't really work that great because I talked about it before, but essentially the door, as the suspension moves, slides underneath this door, right? But the problem is it's really hard to get the geometry right for a push rod, and it has to be a bent push rod in order for this door to clear the push rod that closes this door and is attached to the strut. So anyways, my friend Aaron said, hey, why don't you just do like I did on mine and use a bungee setup? And I didn't really want to use a bungee setup, but honestly, it's the easiest solution and I can always change it in the future. It doesn't look terrible. I made a little bracket. Usually I just like super glue the bungees to the doors. It's kind of hokey, but I came up with like a little fiberglass clip that I'll show you guys here in a second. But essentially everything's done now. Everything's bolted in, Loctited. I got the door fitting pretty good. It could use a little more shimming, but it's really close. You got the landing gear, the strut painted, the wheels are painted, and then the doors are touched up with the proper zinc chromate on the inside. It comes from the factory painted with like some kind of yellow. It's not terrible, but anyways, let's show you guys how this door works. Slowly but surely. Okay, so you can see she's all painted, looks really nice. So I'll have to find some different length bungees, but I actually have two. These are hair ties. These are girls' hair ties. I had to tie them a couple of times to shorten them up. I did try to loop it twice, and that worked, but it was kind of too tight. So anyways, so you can see my little fiberglass holder, little clip thing that I made. Just glued that to the door. And then, yeah, it looks really good. These are 6-inch tires, and I ground off the tread because they were a little too blocky looking and maybe just a little bit too big. But anyways, at some point I'm going to make a flat hubcap for this side because they did have, most P-47s had a flat hubcap on that side. So at some point I'll make one out of plastic, glue it on there. Aside from that, I got some, some things to tidy up, wires to run. I got to put this cover on, but I'm going to wait until I get my other wing done because I want to be able to look inside and see what I did over here. It's been a few weeks, so I don't exactly remember everything. But anyways, yeah, that is, this side is now done, and now I can move on to the other wing. And that is really all that's left to get the airplane flyable. It's not going to be finished. There's a lot of little detail stuff to do. Cockpit, canopy, all the tail wheel doors, stuff like that. Guns, like there's just tons of stuff. But my goal is to get this thing flying by this weekend. I'm on just crazy amount of work right now off site, so I'm pretty much never home. I got like 3 days till I leave again, so we're hoping to go flying Saturday, and I'm essentially going to be gone for a month. I'll be home for a weekend in the middle there, but we got my middle son's got some baseball stuff going on, and so I probably won't be doing any flying that weekend, which is fine. But I really wanted to get this thing going, and it would be really cool to take the Corsair out as well. But we're limited on room. I am going to be buying a trailer soon, but that'll alleviate the issue with not having enough room to take what I want to take. But anyways, talking too much. This side's done. Let's get this other wing knocked out, and hopefully we get the radio. Oh, that reminds me. I did get the 14-channel power safe with Synapse for the P-47. I also got a Zycoid gear controller, and I got one for the Corsair too. But I don't have the little yellow connector for the power wire, so That's a bummer. And I guess I'll be, unless I can find one or make something else up, I'll be stuck using this Robart until I do. So, anywho, that's where we're at. Let's get back to work. Yay. Can't wait for this to be over. All right, guys. It's been a long day. But good news is flight controls are done. The gear is all in. If Robart were still in business, I'd write them an email and tell them that these electric gears suck. They're terrible. Well, it might not be the gear that are terrible, it's the controller that's terrible, but I heard they were terrible, and then I wasn't super happy with how it was working before, so I bought two Zycoid controllers, one for the Corsair, one for this. And it sort of works, sort of doesn't. This one at least works every time. It's really slow, but anyways. Give you guys a quick little demonstration here. So you can see the doors are set up. They fit really nice. Flaps are all done. They match really well. Ailerons are all set up. So now it's really just a matter of getting the radio install finalized. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that needs to be done, but not before it flies. Like the inner gear doors, that's gotta get done. Tail wheel doors, that's gotta get done. Cockpit canopy, bodywork. But essentially, once I run all the wires and get the receiver set up, technically it's ready to test run and do a final systems check on the whole model, and it'll be flyable. I would love to have the radial in it, the fake radial and all that stuff. I just don't see that happening. I'd really like to take the Corsair out the same day, just because I haven't flown that in a while. We flew the Bearcat last time we took a Warbird out, and you all know how that went. So I did pull the controller out of the Corsair to try that one, and it didn't work at all and with these gear, which I thought was pretty interesting. But so now I got to reinstall that into the Corsair. Not a huge deal, but anyways, that's where we're at. I guess let me tidy up some wires, and then I'll get the fuselage down, and then I'll have to make some holes in the wing saddle areas to run the wires through, and then start setting up all the radio stuff. So I just realized I don't believe I have a power switch for my ignition, so may end up just plugging straight in for each flight. It also has some ridiculous servo-operated hatch latch mechanism that you have to figure out how to put together. I really don't want to do that. This might be a taped-on hatch kind of situation for the first couple of flights. I don't have any bigger hatch latches to use, otherwise I would just put mechanical ones in it. I don't understand. That's a terrible idea. If your servos fail or something else, now your hatch is literally stuck on the airplane, which that's a terrible idea. So anyways, I don't like that at all. But anyways, I might use the latches but make them mechanical somehow. I don't know. But if I don't have time to figure it out, I'm not really going to care. I'm just going to use some freaking packing tape to hold that thing on for each flight. So that's hokey, I get it, but I'm out of time and I just want to fly this thing. So that's all detail stuff that can get figured out later on. Anyways, let me get this stuff tidied up so I can install the wings, and then we'll go from there. But, everything's painted. All the gear looks really good. So everything's working. And to be fair, the Robart controller has worked every single cycle, whereas the Zycoid controller would work sometimes, and sometimes they would get stuck and not move. And again, if I could, I would choose pneumatic gear over these any day of the week. That's why every time someone tells me to put electric gear in this, like it's going to solve some world problems, I just laugh, because the only electric gear that are worth anything for big stuff are like Electron gear, and those things aren't cheap, and nor do they make scale landing gear for something like this. I could probably find something that would work in this, but they're also expensive. They probably cost as much as I paid for this entire model. So anyways, I don't want to ramble on too much. Let's get this thing put together. Okay, so I don't even remember the last time I did a video what I was talking about. But remember on the last video when I was like, oh, all I have to do is just, the wings really quick. All the hard stuff's done. Yeah, that was probably 30 hours of work ago. But anyways, the airplane's together. I got the radio set up. Everything's installed. I got the 14 channel Spectrum Synapse in there. Still got some wire stuff to clean up, but essentially batteries are sitting back here. That's my spot for a smoke tank when I get to that. I'm using the Robart gear controller for now because it's working. I did step up to a 3-cell LiFe and they're actually working pretty good now. So as long as that doesn't burn out, we'll be totally cool. So it's working, fingers crossed. So the radio is all set up. The Synapse is set up. So the gyro is working. The motor and all that's already plumbed and ready to go. So this thing is ready to start essentially, but it's 1:30 in the morning. So won't be doing that. But everything's set up. Like I said, it is going to be kind of a pain to assemble the field just because the wires run through the wings. It's not like the Corsair, literally just the 2 wings, 2 connections, 2 screws, and you're good to go. Really easy. This one's going to be a little bit of pain. So what I have left is I have to do the mounting screws for the wings, and I got to like bond some little wood blocks with bland nuts inside of here, drill some holes through the bottom. There's little tabs that are underneath in the wheel wells that you use to put screws through into the fuselage. So I got to do that. That's not a huge deal. The other big thing is the hatch. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I could tape it on. I don't want to do that. So I got to do that. I'm probably going to address the bodywork on the cowling and give that a quick touch up. Just kind of those center rows of checkers I'm going to touch up just so it looks a little bit nicer. I had to jack the nose cone off the Corsair for now. I ordered a couple of new ones off eBay from China, but they haven't gotten here yet. Somehow they ended up in Nebraska. They've been there for like a week. No idea what's going on there. I reached out to the people and they were like, oh, we'll send you some more if they don't show up. So not like a huge deal. It's cosmetics. But I was kind of hoping to take the Corsair out at the same time. But I'll tell you what, this thing is big. That's a long fuselage. I mean, they're not sitting right next to each other, but I think the P-47 is like a good solid 8 inches longer or something like that. 6 inches longer. It's a big bird. So definitely loving the look of the gear all finished up. I actually like this scheme. I just wish it was done better. Like the stars and bars are a little small in the wings, a little big on the body, a little small underneath and in the wrong spot. Those are all wrong. Stripes are too small, but that's an easy fix. Overall, it's not terrible. I like it more than I like the Corsair paint scheme, which I know a lot of people are upset about. But anyways, I'm going to test run this thing in the morning, make sure everything's good there, probably run a tank through it, make sure everything's kosher. I guess I could set up the smoke tank. I guess I will if I have time. But really the big thing is that I want to get this hatch situated. And, when I test run it, we're going to find out if my exhaust system works. And if that doesn't work, then I got to, just run stock pipes out the bottom of the cowling, which I don't really want to do, but I will if I have to. But anyways, that's what we're going to do. So, well, I guess we'll have a quick clip of this running in the morning, and that'll be it for this video. The next time you see it will be after the maiden. So anyways, I'm going to get some sleep and fire this thing up in the morning. All right, guys. thing is running awesome for the first startup. This has got to be the best running one out of all three of them. This thing's making crazy RPM already. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you after the maiden.